Hello students, welcome to the next lesson. When you are playing a game, sometimes you don't know what to do. You don't know how to make a plan and you are confused which plan to choose, or you have no idea what you should do in the next move. If you found yourself in this situation, then ask yourself these three questions. Asking these three questions will help you come up with a plan. First question is, where is the weakness? You try to identify a weakness in opponent's position. If you can identify a weakness in opponent's position, then you can think about how to put your pawns and pieces so that you target that weakness. You will come up with a plan. Second question is, which is my worst placed piece? You look at your own pieces and you find out which piece is the least active, and then you find a way to activate it. Third question, what is the idea behind opponent's move? When you don't know about your plan, then you can think about opponent's plan. What does my opponent want? And if you know about your opponent's plan, then you can think about preventing it. In this lesson, we are going to discuss the first question, where is the weakness? In the upcoming lessons, you will learn about the second question and the third question. So let's start with the first question, where is the weakness? In this position, we are black. And if you ask yourself, where is the weakness in white's position, then you will notice that white's a3 pawn is a weak backward pawn. This pawn cannot be protected by any other pawn. And when I'm asking you to find the weakness, I'm talking about a weak pawn or a weak square. You don't need a big weakness. You need just a tiny weak pawn or just a weak square in opponent's position. That is enough for you to come up with a plan. If you look at the opponent's position, a3 pawn is a weak backward pawn because no other white's pawn can protect it. So white must use his pieces to protect the pawn. And where else is the weakness? We can say that c3 pawn is also a weak pawn because no other pawn can protect it. But if you look at the pieces, it is very hard to attack the c3 pawn. None of our piece can attack the c3 pawn. But what about the a3? Our a8 rook is already targeting the a3 pawn. If we can attack a3 pawn one more time, then we may win it. So how do we use our second rook to attack the a3 pawn? And the answer is rook to f7. Our idea is that we are going to play rook a7 and these two rooks will attack the a3 pawn. This is how you create a plan. Let's say white tries to defend passively. White says knight to d2. After rook a7, white goes knight b1 to protect this pawn. Now we have two pieces attacking the a3 pawn and white has two pieces defending the pawn. So either we need to bring one more piece into the attack or we need to remove one of the defenders. If we can, let's say, play bishop to f5 and then bishop cross b1, we can eliminate the defender and then we can take the a3 pawn. But the problem is e6 pawn is blocking the way of the bishop. So we need to get rid of the e6 pawn so that we can play bishop f5. Then we play bishop cross knight and then we take the a3 pawn. That's why we play pawn to e5. We are attacking the opponent's pawn, so obviously opponent is going to capture it. After bishop cross e5, now we are ready to play bishop to f5. Then we will take this knight, we will remove the defender of the a3 pawn, and then in the next move we are going to capture the a3 pawn. And this is how you find a winning plan. Let's go back. In the game, white tried king to d2. You continue with your plan. White played king c2 and white knows that he is going to lose this pawn anyway. So he wants to lose this pawn in a way that minimizes the damage. And now we take this pawn on a3. Rook cross a3, rook cross a3, king b2. King is attacking the rook, so we come back. And now white plays rook a1. White wants to exchange black's active rook on the open file. So we play rook cross a1, king cross a1, and we are a pawn up in this position. But if you look at our piece, it is not very active, so we can play bishop to d7. Our idea is to put it on e8, then to put it on g6, and we can improve this bishop. We can put this bishop on the active diagonal. And later, you can push e5 to open the central lines. We have the bishop pair, and you already know how to play with the bishop pair. Let's look at one more example. In this position, we are white. And ask yourself this question: where is the weakness? And if you look at the pawn structure, weakness is on e6, because e6 pawn cannot be defended by any other pawn. And you will also notice one more thing: queen and king are in the same diagonal. So if your bishop was pointing toward this diagonal, then opponent's queen and king will come under attack. So it gives you a hint. Where should you put your bishop? Your h3 bishop is right now attacking this weakness. That's a good thing, but you can make it more active. You can even make it more dangerous by putting it on the c4. From c4, not only it will attack this weakness, but it will also threaten the queen and the king. So now you have a plan. You should play bishop to f1. Your idea is to play bishop c4. Black plays rook d6, overprotecting e6. And now you play bishop to c4. Black plays rook a d8. Black is targeting your d4 pawn. But you don't have to worry about it. You can focus on this weakness. You can try to open this diagonal. And that's why you play f5. Obviously, black cannot move his pawn, otherwise he will lose his queen. So he takes the d4 pawn. And now you play f cross e6. Black first plays rook cross d1, rook cross d1, rook cross d1, queen cross d1. And black cannot take our pawn. If black plays knight cross e6, then you play queen e2. You put more pressure on this pinned piece, and there is no way for black to bring one more defender. So you win material. That's why here black will play queen e7. And now white has a fantastic move. White's bishop is on this diagonal, and the only problem is that e6 pawn is blocking the bishop. So you play queen d8, queen d8, queen sacrifice. After queen cross d8, now the bishop becomes a monster. You play e7 check. It's a discover attack. And once the king moves, you simply capture opponent's queen and make a new queen. So white wins the game. So whenever you found yourself in a position where you don't know what to do, ask yourself this question: where is the weakness? If you can identify a weak pawn or a weak square in opponent's position, then you can create a plan. You can think how you should place your pieces so that you attack that weakness. It will give you a good plan. Now in the next lesson, you will learn about next two questions. Let's go.